Hello, good evening, everyone. How are we doing? Good evening, Mr. Ademola. Good evening to all our YouTube family members, persons who are streaming on YouTube. How are we doing? How are we all doing? Hope we are all doing well. So, welcome to the grand finale, right? Today is the final day of our impromptu presentation mastery course. It is also our examination, right? It doubles as graduation and examination. So at the end of the exams, we would move over to graduation, all right? And so because this is an exam, we're not supposed to wait for anyone, right? Once the time for the once the allocated time for the exam elapses, we will move over to graduation, and persons who couldn't make it will have to join the next cohort to write their exams, because we have to learn how to work with time. All right, so Mr. Demola, welcome. Hope you are fine. Hope you're okay. It's good to have you on board. So let's get into what we have for today. So yeah, today is day 6 and the final day of impromptu presentation mastery for professionals. It is still think and speak on the spot, but today everything that we have learned is going to be tested. All right, everything that we have learned is going to be tested. So let's get into it. So like I said, this is our final examination. Okay, and just before we get into the exam, I just want to appreciate everyone who has stayed through this process, who has stayed committed to the journey, right? We're supposed to have an external examiner, but up until now, she has not been able to leave the airport. Her flight got delayed, right? And we've been communicating, and she has not been able to leave the airport. So sometimes it is, let's say, I don't want to say Nigeria happened to us, but because we don't know who will be streaming this, right? So let's just say that sometimes it can also be the will of God, you know. So yeah, she couldn't, her flight was cancelled, so a bit delayed. Can't remember what she said, but yeah, she said either cancelled or delayed. But yeah, she's still at the airport, right? And she wasn't able to fly, right? And so she's not settled to join us through this very intense moment. But good evening, Mr. Aliu. How are you doing? Welcome to class. So I'm trying to get my stopwatch, my timer, because it's still going to be the same way we did our previous our test, but this is going to run for 2 or 3 sessions, and then we're going to be graded on various things. All right, so let's get into it proper. So yeah, today is our final examination. Congratulations to everyone who made it this far. All right, so what is the section breakdown? What is it going to look like? Now, the first session, which is what we're about to get into, is going to last for 40 to 45 minutes. But like I said earlier, just before Mr. Ali you joined, right? Today we're not going to wait for anyone. So if it's just 2 persons, 1 person, as many as show up for the exam will take the exams, and then every other person will have to join the next cohort to take their exam, right? Because we're not going to be graduating people who didn't take their exams. All right, so if it's just 1 person or 2 persons, we are not waiting for anyone today. All right, so the first section is broken down into 40 to 45 minutes, and in this session, you're going to be answering questions. We're going to be grading based on different things. All right, so let me see if I can project what you'll be graded by, right? Let me see if I can project it. Let me see if I can add it to screen so that everything is fair. We're all seeing the metrics by which we are grading. Okay, so just give me a few seconds while I try to load up what we are being graded by. That's the document where we have the metric. I need to project it because it's very important that we get to see it, so it doesn't look like, oh, I do not know why I had this score, I don't know why I had that score, right? You're going to know why you are being graded. But since the document is wasting time, let me see if I can find it on my phone and read it for us so that we have an idea as to what we are grading with. All right. So, IPM examination. All right, good. I've been able to load it up on my phone. For some reason, it's not coming up on my system, but I'm going to be reading it for us. All right. So, the criteria is that learners are going to be graded. The exam is going to be out of 60. All right. So, it's 60 marks, right? And the first the first grading point is presentation. All right, so you'll be graded based on how you are able to present your ideas clearly and professionally with good confidence. All right, so you're going to be graded based on your presentation, how you're able to present your ideas clearly and confidently. And presentation is 20 marks. All right, so your presentation carries 20 marks. Now, your framework usage, when we get into um what's it called, when you're being asked to make a presentation using a particular framework, right? Now, the correct use and application of the frameworks. So the criteria for getting 20 marks in your framework is how you are able to use the framework correctly, right? The correct use and application of the framework is a huge determinant of if you are going to get the full 20 marks, or if you're going to get any mark at all that is awarded for that. So presentation and use of framework is 30 marks. All right. Now, time management. Okay, now skill your ability to complete your speaking tasks within the allocated time. That one is 10 marks. All right. So in total, you have 60 marks, 20 marks for your presentation, right? And then 30 marks for your use of framework, and 10 marks for the time, right? How you're able to stay within the time. Okay, so I think during our test, we had an idea as to what we mean when we say your ability to stick with time. All right. Now, this is a grading guide. I really need to project this. Okay, fine. I think it has come up. So let me project it. Good. Just hold on a minute. Let me add to screen. Let me add something else to screen. Stop screen. I have to bring down that particular screen and project this other screen. IPM examination, yeah. Share. Good. Now, so I have to start again so that we can actually see everything, right? Nothing is hidden. So we actually have a framework. So it's IPM examination rubric. Meanwhile, IPM is impromptu presentation mastery, right? That's like the short form, because when you want to start writing this whole long thing on this document, it might become, oh, I'm not even projecting this. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Okay, please confirm that you can see my screen now. Please, can you see this that I projected? Can you see what I projected? Oops. Please confirm that you can see. Can you see this? Can anyone help me answer in the chat if you can see the document that okay, yes, thank you so much. So so we have the learner's practical examination grading rubric, right? So it's over 60 marks. And like I was saying, IPM examination rubric. IPM means impromptu presentation mastery, right? So this is the examination rubric, and this is the criteria by which you're being graded. Now, assessment area, we are being assessed in 3 areas: presentation, framework usage, time management. All right, now the criteria for presentation is that the learner presents ideas clearly and professionally with good confidence. This is 20 marks. Your use of framework, correct use and application of the framework, is 30 marks. Time management, you're able to complete speaking tasks within allocated time. That's like 10 marks. Total is 60 marks. Now, this is the grading guide. Presentation, 20 marks, right? And how do you break it down? 16 to 20 is excellent presentation, clear and professional. All right, so if your presentation is well enough, if it's professional, if it's clear, all right, you're going to be graded within 16 to 20. All right, now 11 to 15 is good presentation with minor issues. All right, so whatever issues we encounter in terms of maybe rambling and all of that. Now the rambling, I have to explain the rambling. If it happens once or twice maximum, it can be overlooked. But anything above three, right? Anything above three, we will not overlook it. We're actually going to, um, you know, do what we need to do, because as it stands now, we have actually talked about all of this previously. Now, 6 to 10 is fair presentation but needs improvement. 0 to 5, of which I don't think any of our students would have this. In fact, I'm not even expecting anyone to fall within these last two. All right, I'm looking at 11 to and above, and I pray that we'll get more than that. Now, framework usage, this is a breakdown. 24 to 30, right? Excellent understanding and application. 16 to 23, good use with minor errors. 8 to 15, basic understanding, several errors. 0 to 7, limited understanding, incorrect use. All right, so we do not want that for anyone. Time management, 8 to 10, completed on time and effectively. All right, 5 to 7, mostly on time, but maybe you overused, or you know didn't stick within the criteria. 2 to 4, delayed in completion. 0 to 1, did not complete within the time. All right, so I guess the rubric is clear enough, right? The how we are being graded for the exam is clear enough. So I think I'm going to bring down this and project the exam for today. All right, so I just have to stop sharing this and then share the other slide. Ooh. Okay, yeah, so section 2 is 40 to 45 minutes, still the same thing. Then section 3 is feedback. Now what we're going to do is, your feedback is going to be, sorry, let me make sure that this is being projected. Okay, so your feedback is going to be mailed to you. All right, because we have two things happening at the same time today, which is examination and graduation, we might not spend so much time on feedback, depending on the amount of persons that turn up. But anyone who comes later than a particular time will have to join the next set to write their exams, because no one goes late for an exams. All right, so let's get into it. So section 3 is feedback plus takeaway. All right, so what's next? Fine, examination. Now we've started our exams. All right, so there's no need hiding the questions. We don't hide our questions normally. All right, so I'm just going to call out the requirements for this particular session. All right, so I'm going to call out the requirements for this particular session. Now for the first examination, we're using the pitch framework. All right, so we all know what the pitch framework is, right? I'm not going to say it in full because it's an exam. All right, now you have 25 seconds to prepare, and you have 5 minutes speaking max and 4 minutes minimum. All right, now the maximum time you can use is 5 minutes, but the minimum time you should use is 4 minutes. All right, so, and in these 4 minutes you should be able to know how to spread your points. All right, for this particular framework, you can see that it has only 3 structures you can break it down into. All right, so you have to know how to spread your point so that it covers the minimum and the maximum speaking time. Okay, because I mean, you saw that we are going to be grading based on time management as well. So just give me a second. Good. All right, so I don't know who wants to go first, but I think I'll call the first person that joined the call. Yeah, so hi, Mr. Ademola. Good evening, and how are you doing? Welcome to today's examination. How are you doing? How is everything at your end?
Good evening. Everything is fine.
All right, okay, so let's get straight into it. Do you need me to explain the metrics again, or should I get into the question?
You can get into the question.
Okay, so I'm going to give you question 5, all right, which is, suggest one change that would improve productivity in the workplace. All right. Now, using the pitch framework, please suggest one change that would improve productivity in the workplace. Thank you. Now, I'm going to let you know when your time starts ticking. Okay. So let me just write your name and then the question. Okay. So in three, two, one, action. Your time is ticking already.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you. I am happy to be here to speak on the topic. What, what, what productive way to increase what way to increase productivity? So, first of all, I would like to say that productivity is very important for any enterprise, any business venture, even if not a business venture, any organization, whether for profit or for non-profit. Productivity is important. Your business was set up for a reason, and if you cannot meet that reason, you can be said to have failed. So, what are the challenges affecting productivity? There are so many factors, ranging from attitude of staff, ranging from inability to learn, ranging from inability to use work tools, ranging from not even understanding the objective of the organization. So, what are the ways to improve productivity? For me, I'm a very big believer on using IT to solve problems. And one thing I have realized, a lot of businesses, a lot of organizations have manual processes that take hours, if not days, to complete. And that is one way to make an organization very inefficient. When you have things that can be automated, when you have things that can be processed faster with the use of certain tools or IT, but we still rely on the manual way of doing things. There's no way you will not be left behind. We are in the age of AI now. AI is just not about asking ChatGPT to write you a letter. AI cannot be used to streamline processes, increase productivity. I have seen where organizations now use AI to even answer customers. Then you send an email or even call to make inquiries. Your inquiries are handled by AI, so you don't need a staff to be there permanently to answer calls. You don't need a staff who can get distracted or may not have full information to give the staff. You now have AI that can handle all those processes. So what am I saying? Businesses have lots of manual processes that need human beings to handle. Those human beings may be sick, those human beings may be absent, those human beings may be slow. So how do you overcome that? Use AI tools. There are many in the market, there are many that are available. All you need to do is get the right one. If you need to hire a consultant, fine. If you want to learn about it by yourself, fine. But just implementing AI processes will, in a very short while, improve productivity. What are the benefits of AI? AI never sleeps. AI is always available 24/7. AI doesn't go on break. AI doesn't go on leave. AI gets things done very, very quickly. So, in a nutshell, to improve productivity, first of all, identify your manual processes, identify the relevant AI tools that can be used to manage those processes and make them faster. Then you will see the benefits. Improve productivity, improve customer satisfaction, faster, faster service delivery, happy customers. When you have happy customers, you have an happy organization. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ademola. So you were able to make your presentation in 4 minutes, 16 seconds, 22 nanoseconds. All right, so you used 4 minutes, 16 seconds, 22 nanoseconds. Okay, so thank you very much. Um, like I said, we'll not be giving any feedback because we are trying to manage time. But for now, there are just a few persons who are currently present for the examination. So why are we going to have to delay the feedback? Would rather just give the feedback at once. Okay. So for your question, right? Let me firstly project the question that you were given. Okay, so for your question, it says suggest one change that would improve productivity in the workplace. All right, and then we all know that the pitch framework, right, it talks about you trying to sell an idea. Okay, now when you're using the pitch framework, you're trying to sell an idea to someone. All right, you're trying to see the person, you're trying to make the person buy into a picture perfect, all right, something that wasn't working and what you think can do it better. All right, so from your explanation, from what you explained, all right, first of all, I showed us our metric by which we are going to be accessing learners. First of all, your presentation was good, it was calm, it was confident, right? It shows that you have actually been in the process. Okay, so for your presentation, we're going to give you an 18/20 for presentation because the idea was clear, it was quite convincing, right? I was able to as someone who is also a business person, I was able to get a first-hand glimpse as to what you were trying to say, because just like you mentioned, a lot of founders are struggling with presentation, I mean with AI and automation of ideas. Okay, so the presentation in itself was very clear, very straight to the point. All right, now the use of the framework, um, which is the persuasion framework, right? That's a pitch framework, the use of the framework in itself. Okay, so first, at some point when you started with your introduction, you started by letting us have a first-hand glimpse into what an everyday life looks like for professionals and businesses. Businesses have strongly been limited to manual labor and stuff like that. Okay, so you're trying to present a problem, all right, which is, we all know that the pitch framework is problem, solution, benefit. Okay, so you try to project a problem. All right, so the first framework, which was problem, we're able to identify the problem, which is manual labor, businesses having to depend on manual labor. All right, we're able to identify that. All right, now for that particular one, right, in as much as I could see firsthand the problem, right, but if I'm someone that really wants to use AI for my services, and if I'm having an automation problem, you did not really make the problem so intense, right? So now let me say something about um, problems and solutions, right? The moment you are able to make a problem feel like a problem, then your solution would actually sink more because you did not personalize the problem to just to me. Okay, but the reason why we're trying to be careful about giving feedback is because other persons who would now be listening would not be using that as their correction. So for that, I'm going to stop there. All right, I'm not going to talk so much about the framework. I will just leave it at what I was able to hear and how you were able to use the framework. Okay, so for the framework, right, I'm going to be giving you a 25/30 for use of framework, and I'm going to explain that after we are done with the first session. All right, so use of framework is 25/30, and then your time management. So I called the time you used, which was 4 minutes 14 seconds 22 nanoseconds. All right, so and the exam is timed at 4 minutes max, right? I mean 4 minutes minimum and 5 minutes max. So you were able to stay within the time constraint that was given for the exams. So for that particular one, you have your 10, all right? You have your 10 over 10 for being able to use the time effectively, okay? So we're going to go over to the next person. All right, we're going to go back to the next person, which is Aliu. All right, good evening, sir. How are you doing? And hope you are ready for today. Hello, sir. Are you
Uh,
there?
I'm there. Good evening, ma.
Oh, good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm set.
Okay. All right. That's great. So, should I call the questions again? I mean, the prerequisite again, or should I go straight to the question?
No, you can go straight to the question.
Okay. All right. So, I would I would use question number 2, all right, which is persuade a company to adopt remote work. Okay, so your exam question is persuade a company to adopt remote work. Now, just because in the last class that we had, right, persons did not really understand the what's it called now, the metric by which they are graded. That's the time metric, and or I'll just have to read it again to make sure that we're all on the same page. So your preparation time is 25 seconds, all right, and you do not exceed 5 minutes and you do not go below 4 minutes. Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, action. Your time, okay, hold on. In 3, 2, 1, action. Your time has started ticking. All right.
Good evening, everyone. The issue of companies to be working remotely is very important because it allows companies to work 24/7. Because if employees are allowed to work remotely, they will be having the chance to work 24/7. They can also work at home, which will in turn create greater productivity for the company. In fact, in some instances, even public service have started that, innovation. I've seen some places whereby civil servants are allowed to work from home, which is adding value to the service. So I think this idea of allowing company to work 247 give them a very good opportunity to boost and increase their productivity. However, certain things need to be done, to regulate the conduct of, working remotely, because without that, the benefit of that cannot be, attained. However, again, employees need to be trained so that they know precisely what they need to do. Now, if employees are only allowed to come to the office and work, that can to higher extent, limit their, participation. But if they're allowed to work remotely, they will be able to, contribute from any point, from anywhere. Sometimes if you work at home, you'll be able to, produce at the highest and optimal level of whatever you want to do. Now, basically, that would increase productivity. In turn, it would increase the productivity of the company, and as well as the earning per share or whatever the benefit to the company will be increased. I think with that, any company will find it worthy to allow its employees to work remotely. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Aliu. So, before we go to the next section, I'm going to give the feedback. All right. So I'll go back to Mr. Ademola. Meanwhile, you used 2 minutes, 23 seconds, 0.8 nanoseconds. Okay, I don't know if you can see my time. So it's 2 minutes, 23 seconds, 0.8 nanoseconds. All right. Now, I would have to go back to Mr. Ademola. But before then, just give me a few minutes. Let me do something. Okay, so let's go over to Mr. Ademola and his what's it called, his presentation. All right, so Mr. Ademola, you were asked to suggest one change that can improve productivity. Now, the framework that we are using for this particular exam is the pitch framework. All right, and we know that in the now the reason why I did not write the framework in itself as it's supposed to be, which is problem solution benefit, right? That is what the framework actually is. It is, this PSB means problem solution benefit, but the other name for it is the pitch framework. Now, the reason why I did not write it as PSB is because sometimes writing it in the full name, it is actually more like a cheat code for persons. All right, so we like to use the other name that it is known for. Okay, so we now expect that you naturally know what this framework is and you know how to use it effectively. So you were asked to speak on suggest one thing that can improve productivity, and the pitch framework was what you used. Okay, so your presentation, I told you it was 18 out of 20. All right, your presentation was 18 out of 20. The framework was 25 out of 30 because you were able to effectively use the framework. The only thing is that I did not get persuaded enough to want to actually adopt the solution you provided, which is AI. All right, so I didn't get the solution, I mean the problem enough. It didn't come up to me as a very striking pinpoint. And then when you're trying to pitch to someone to actually adopt something, right, you have to try to relate that problem to them, what they are currently facing. Okay, so other than that, the solution you provided, which was quite enormous, was the fact that AI does not sleep, AI does not rest, AI gives you 24/7 availability in terms of people always being active at work. And then the benefits you also gave was more in line with the solution you provided. All right, so AI was the solution. All right, in terms of automation of services and taxes, AI was the solution that you provided, which is quite true, seeing where the world is going. And then the benefits was that AI doesn't rest and stuff like that. So that was the justification behind um the score that we gave you. Okay, so in the first exam, the first section, right, you had presentation 20, presentation 18, framework 25, and time management 10. All right, so that is it for Mr. Ademola. That's the feedback. Okay, so for Sir Aliyu, well done, sir. Okay, well done for today's attempt. First of all, the question that was asked is persuade a company to adopt remote work. Okay, now I strongly believe that even if we said that, or we call this a pitch framework, but the whole idea is, like I said, why there is an abbreviation here is this abbreviation is actually the main framework, which is problem solution benefit. Okay, but from the presentation you made, sir, I was only hearing the benefits of remote working. Okay, I did not really hear a problem. What exactly was the problem when it comes to the presentation? Because I was strongly paying attention to hear the problem, because I know that, first of all, one problem people that work remotely have is, I mean, people who do not work remotely or who do not let their staff work remotely, is exhaustion. Okay, it's exhaustion. Most staff that work or come to work every day are usually exhausted, right? There's this round the clock thing that happens with staff. Oh, every day you're coming to work, Monday to Friday, even the days you cannot rest. So I didn't really hear a problem, right? And now when you are pitching to a company, you know that most times companies are actually looking for how to increase productivity, one, and reduce expense. Okay, so I would have felt that a better way to actually sell this thing to a company would have been to actually let them know that most times when staff come to the office, they spend more on office runs like fuel, keeping the office conducive for staff and stuff like that. But if people are in their houses, they can be able to do this. All right, but the presentation was quite, it was clear. All right, the presentation was clear. So in presentation, I'll be giving you 15 over 20 for presentation. Okay, but for the framework, I honestly only felt like you focused mainly on the benefit, right? It was more like there was a heavy dependence on the benefit of remote work rather than the problem that remote work or coming to the office is. When you're trying to pitch something, it's like you're stating a problem and you are creating a solution. You are showing them a solution which is working from home, and then you're actually trying to sell them the benefit, right? But if you only sell the benefit, the person who is supposed to make a decision based on whatever you sell to them might not really see enough problem in this solution that you are providing. I mean, they might not really see enough problem to the extent at which that they want to adopt the solution you're providing. All right, so for the use of framework, now when each framework is supposed to be 10-10, right? So if you're able to state the problem clearly, it's 10 marks. If you're also able to provide a solution clearly, it's also 10 marks. Now if you're able to state the benefit clearly, it's 10 marks. All right, that is why framework is 30. That is how it is broken down. All right, your ability to state the problem, you prefer solution, and then you give us the benefits. That is how we came up with 30 marks for the framework, for this particular framework. All right, so because you heavily depended on benefits and mentioned a few problems, all right, I would give you, for benefits, you really exhausted the benefit. So in benefit, you get your full 10 marks because you're able to sell the benefit effectively. All right, now the solution and the problem were not clearly mentioned. So for each of them, I'm going to combine it together, and I'm going to be giving you an 18 over 30 for the framework, right? 18 over 30 for use of framework. And then for time management, okay, now we're told that it is 4 minutes, okay, minimum, and 5 minutes maximum, okay, but you were able to exhaust 2 minutes 23 seconds, 8 nanoseconds. All right, and over 10, when you are able to use the time frame as it is provided, you get your full 10 marks. All right, but because you were able to do half of that, is it half? I mean, the maximum is 5 minutes, right, and the minimum is 4 minutes. So half of 5 minutes is 2 minutes 25 seconds. Okay, so you did 2 minutes 23 seconds. All right, so for that, for time, we're going to be giving you a 4.5 over 10. Okay, because this is an examination, and by all means we have to make sure that we stick to the rules. Okay, so time management is going to be a 4.5 over 10. All right, so this is it for the first one. We're going to go to the next one. All right, so I think after now, this is already 7:41. So after this session, we will do our graduation, and any other person who missed the exams will have to join the next set to do their own exam. All right, so this is the second examination. All right, and this particular examination is called story framework. Now, because like I said, we do not break down these frameworks the way we mentioned them in class, because we actually said that it can be called this or this. Okay, so when you hear story framework, what comes to your mind? All right, when you hear, oh, story framework, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Okay, so for this second examination, we're going to be using the story framework as our grading scheme for this second examination. All right, and this particular one, now we're going to be answering 2 questions each. Okay, there is a way this particular one is done, we're going to be answering two questions each, right? And the first question will go to the first person, the second question will go to the second person, then we'll do it again. All right, so this one is quite technical. Okay, so I'm going to give us some time to catch our breath. Let's just have like a 1 minute rest to catch our breath. All right, because I do know that sometimes when you are being put on the spot, plus you're getting live feedback, it can somehow make you want to start thinking, but let me just give us some time to catch our breath while we are preparing. So I'm going to be using a timer. Okay, so once it's 1 minute on the dot, this is 7:40. Let me use a timer because we have to keep to time. So this is 7:42, right? Once it's 1 minute on the dot, we'll come back to it. All right, so just use 1 minute to catch your breath and we will come back to it. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is exactly 1 minute, 1 second on the dot. Okay, because we try to keep to time. It's like time is very important to us. So we're going to be starting immediately, and we'll be starting with Mr. Ademola. So I'm going to I know I've mentioned how this second examination works. All right. So like I said, we're going to be answering two questions each, but the first question, you have 3 minutes speaking time and 4 minutes maximum. All right, so it shouldn't be less than 3 minutes and it shouldn't be more than 4 minutes, and you have 15 seconds time to catch your breath. But because we've done 1 minute rest, we're going to start immediately. So Mr. Demola, please, I'm going to be giving you question number 2, which is describe an experience that changed the way you think. All right, describe an experience that changed the way you think. All right, so in 3, 2, 1, action. Your time has started counting. Okay, your time has
Okay.
started counting. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. My name is Ademola Okunaya, and I'll be explaining or describing an experience that changed the way I think. So many years ago, when I was in higher institution, I felt that one of the ways or one of the ways to know who a serious student was somebody who was always in class, punctual, taking notes in class, submitting assignments on time, and all that. No, just that general notion or general belief of what a serious student should be. I noticed there were a group of students in my class. Yeah, they attended class, but they always sat at the back, and they never showed any inclination of being serious students. So we generally just regarded them as backbenchers. When it's time for exam, they will either copy or try and sort out lecturers and all that. Not knowing that these students were actually A students. It was much later we realized what they used to do was during the holidays, before school starts, they were counting students. Before school starts, they get the curriculum, read everything back to back from beginning to the end before school starts. So when school starts, they are just brushing up. Exam time comes, they ace all their papers. So we just avoid our struggling, always being in class, trying to sit in front of the class, submit the assignments on time, everything. We struggle to catch up with them. While they, who we thought were serious students, always acing their papers. So what am I saying? Right now, I have learned not to judge a book by the cover. Look beyond the outward appearance. Look beyond what the person is projecting. So people are very good at projecting an image they want you to believe. Meanwhile, really deep down inside, they are something else or they are somebody else. This is very important in life. You come across people, you don't know who they are or what they are, and based on just that first impression or that or what they project, you judge them. Meanwhile, with that, you could have lost opportunities, you could have lost connections, you could have looked down on people that could really have helped you. You could have looked down people that could connect you to what you're looking for. You could have looked down people that could bring benefit to you or value to your circle. So to wrap up, look beyond that first impression, look beyond that first image, look beyond your first reaction, dig deeper and know who the person is or what the person is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ademola. So you used 3 minutes, 40 seconds, 47 nanoseconds. All right, 3 minutes, 40 seconds, 47 nanoseconds. Okay, so thank you very much for that. We still know the grading metric, which is presentation, framework, and time management. All right, so just give me a second, let me wrap up with this, then we can go over to the next person. Presentation over 30 plus, um, 19, framework 20, and time 10. All right, so thank you very much once again, Mr. Ademola. Mr. Liu, are you with us? Can you please hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, ma.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. So we're going to be going straight into the question. All right. So Mr. Ademola was asked, describe an experience that changed the way you think, which is question number 2. All right. So I'll be giving you question number 4. All right. Talk about a time you learned something valuable from failure. All right. Now, I want to tell, okay, I'm not supposed to explain what failure is, but the question is talk about a time you learned something valuable from failure. All right. It might not be big failure or small failure, anything that felt like, oh, this person had failed. All right. Now, the framework is um story framework. All right. And then the abbreviation is PPF. Okay. And then the time is you have 15 seconds thinking time, right? And you have maximum of 4 minutes, minimum of 3 minutes. All right. So in 3, 2, 1, action. Your time
Good
has
evening,
started
everyone.
ticking.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shaibu Aliu. I think what I've learned from failure long ago was my inability to understand myself very well. In the past, usually I have a problem of, trying to see that whatever I did is correct, and to a large extent, that makes me to be making so much mistakes. Now, from the mistakes I have made, there are a number of things that I've learned, especially uh, during my educational career and during my working career. There are a lot of things you need to learn as mistakes in the first, like for example, trying to understand or trying to believe in something that is wrong. If you did not try as much as possible to analyze or prove something, there is no way you can believe in that. But sometimes carelessly, I used to believe in things. But nowadays, I try as much as possible to see that whatever I do is evidence based. With that, whatever I will do, I try as much as possible to see there is a reason, there is a justification for that. You know, that was what helped me to, to take benefit of that mistake I made before. You know, it comes, it becomes like a stepping stone, to my progress. In the future, whatever I want to do is I try as much as possible to see that I stay very calm, and at the same time try as much as possible to see that I did not rush things, because sometimes trying to rush things, you know, it will not avail you the opportunity to see the negative side of whatever you want to do. So it is important that try to look at from the failures we made. There are so many lessons that, that can be learned from that. With that, you can learn and build a better future, which I'm very sure that's what we want to do. In conclusion, uh, whatever you want to do, there's nothing better than experience. If you don't know, you need to get somebody that knows that, so that it will help you to think, so that you not make mistake in the future. Thank you very much. I'm done, ma. I've concluded. Hello.
Can you hear me? Please confirm that you can hear me. Can you hear me now?
Hear you, ma.
Okay, all right. So you stopped at exactly 2 minutes, 49 seconds,
Oh my God.
um, 94 nanoseconds.
I, I'm trying to make up that 3 minutes, honestly speaking.
So we said in class that there is no law whatsoever that says you must exhaust the time that is given to you. But somehow, because this is training, we are training us to know how to stay within um a time
The
that is
time
given
frame.
to us. All right. Yes. So
Yes.
let me just take down the time and we can proceed. Okay. So well done everyone. I mean, PPF, right, is simply past, present, future. All right. And it's since we have already finished the first round, there's going to be a second round of the exam. But let's just do the feedback for the first round so that we can get some motivation to get into the second round of the exam. All right. So please just help me confirm that you can hear me, because I'm having this reverberating sound like network or something. Please, can you confirm that you can hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
I hear you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. 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 Thank you so much. So the first person that spoke was Mr. Ademola. All right. And the exam question was we gave you question number 2, right? We gave you question number 2, which is describe an experience that changed the way you think. Okay. So for the past, right? Because normally we're judging based on framework. So for the past, right, you were able to carefully tell us a time when, when you were in school and then persons had a disposition like they were unserious. Sorry, excuse me. They had a disposition that they were unserious, but as time went on, you were able to see that, oh, this person were not unserious, but they actually had a strategy. All right. So the story from the past was really clear. Please give me 1 minute. Please, I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you very much. So the story from the past was really clear. Okay, we're able to see how that you could take us from that memory lane, and the story was really vivid. Now the present, you had actually told us what you are doing presently, which is not judging a book by its cover. All right. Now in the future, you actually told us that the best thing to do is to get to know people before you want to criticize them or you want to place them in a certain pedestal. All right. So for your presentation, which is the overall flow of the presentation, you had a 19/20. All right. For the use of framework, you now in the past you gave us like an accurate story. So you had 10 over 10 in the past. In the present, you were also able to have 10 over 10. But the future, I didn't really get a clear picture of that future, right? I didn't really get a clear picture of it. However, you had an 8 over 10 in the future. So in framework, your ability to use the framework, you had a 28 over 10. Now, I mean 28 over 30, pardon me. Now, when it came to time, right, time management, we said not more than 4 minutes and not less than 3 minutes. So you used 3 minutes, 40 seconds, 47 nanoseconds, which means you clearly was able to beat the time and you had your 10 over 10. All right. So for the presentation, you had 19, framework, you had 28 over 30, and time, you had 10 over 10. All right. So, Mr. Aliyu, you were asked to tell us a time you learned something about failure. Okay, so in the past you did mention that you were someone who struggled to actually see anything wrong with yourself. Okay, and you were able to carry us through that history. All right, so for the past, you had a 10 over 10 there, because I mean, I could vividly see how that um when that thing becomes a problem, it can actually limit someone, right? Limit your growth, limit your work experience, and then you actually likened it to when you were working, and the way that even in your professional development and your learning, not seeing anything wrong with yourself actually was a limiting factor, and that was quite impressive. And now in the present, you actually told us that what you are doing currently is that you're trying to take feedback and be more present with whatever things you see as a problem. You try to work on them and not claim perfection, which is quite interesting as well. And you also got a 10 over 10 there. Now for the future, I was actually trying to get a clear direction as to what the future really looked like solving this problem, from identifying that, oh, it was more like an infallible personality. This person actually didn't see a problem or always saw themselves as picture perfect, and now you are currently realizing that this can be a limiting factor. And in the future, I was still trying to get a clear um picture as to what you intend to do. But then I think before you concluded, you actually mentioned a few things, and for that, I know I did give you an 8. So for presentation, I would say well done, because this particular one was quite a step ahead of the previous presentation that you did. And so for presentation, you had a 19 over 20, because you were calm and you were able to tell us a story that was quite impressive. Now for the framework, past you had 10, present you had 10, future you had 8, which is a 28 over 30. And then time management, I really don't know what is happening with time, but you actually used 2 minutes, 49 seconds, 94 nanoseconds. Now what that means is that we're given a time stamp, right? Do not exceed 4 minutes and do not go below 3 minutes. So half of 4 minutes is 2 minutes. So you well did exceed 2 minutes. You had 2 minutes, 49 seconds, 94 nanoseconds. So I would give you a 6 over 10 for time, because you were very close to the 3 minutes cutoff. All right. Okay. I'll just give you a 7, because you were at 49 seconds, right? It was just a few seconds to 3 minutes on the dot, which was like the minimum. Okay, so for that, I would give you a 7 over 10 for time management. Okay, so we'll now get into the round 2 of the examination. All right, so well done everyone, and welcome to round 2. Okay, so but before we get into round 2, let me give us okay, I've been the one talking. I wanted to say let me give us 1 minute to catch our breath, but I've been the one talking. So let's get straight into it, right? Because I just realized I've been the one talking. So we have had enough time to catch our breath. All right. So the second round rather, goes to Mr. Ademola. Okay, Mr. Ademola, please can you let us know that you are still here with us?
I'm here.
Sorry?
I am here. I am here.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So this is the second round of the examination, and I mean this is the third round, and um this is the third round of the examination, right? And the second question in this particular round. Now, I want you to share a memorable experience that taught you. Okay, this is similar to the question you've answered, so don't worry. Let's skip that. Okay, tell us about a time you had to overcome a challenge, which is question number one. All right, so tell us about a time that you had to overcome a challenge, right? So your time starts in three, two, one, action. Your time is counting.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Once again, my name is Ademola Okunaya. I would like to share an experience where I had to overcome a challenge. Growing up, I was quite shy and I was an introvert. And that shyness and introversy shaped my character into my early teens and growing up. So, like many people, I had a fear of public speaking. Speaking in front of a crowd always gave me nightmares and serious fright. This was a big challenge for me, but I didn't know how bad it was until later on when I knew I lost some good opportunities just because I could not speak confidently in front of people. And I realized I needed to do something. The opportunity came when I got into my master's program, and one of the courses taught was actually public presentation, public speaking. So we were taken through a course of theory lessons, and we were now forced to make presentation. I will admit my first presentation was a disaster. I was sweating, I was stuttering, rambling all over the place. My thoughts were disjointed. But at least I survived. I was able to stand in front of my class and make a presentation without collapsing. Over time, I improved a bit to an extent where, yes, I'm comfortable making a presentation to the public or to a group of people so far as I have enough time to prepare beforehand. That has helped me. Presently, I have mastered that art of public speaking, even though I still struggle with impromptu presentation where I have not had time to prepare, which is one of the reasons why I enrolled in this course. So let me overcome that challenge. Going forward, after this course, I will use every opportunity to practice my public speaking using the frameworks and skills that were taught in this class. And with that, I hope to be able to improve my public speaking to the point where I've never caught unawares. Anytime I'm asked to make a presentation, whether I'm given enough time ahead, I'm told at that moment, impromptu, be able to deliver confidently, be able to deliver passionately, and convince whoever I'm supposed to convince. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ademola. So you used 3 minutes, 15 seconds, 56 nanoseconds. All right, you used 3 minutes, 15 seconds, 56 nanoseconds. So let me just write that down. All right, 3 minutes. Mm, this is 20. This is 30, and this is 3, 15, 56. Okay, so we're going to do your review after Mr. Aliu's presentation, just like how we did it the last time, all right, so that everything can happen at once, because this exam is supposed to end by 8:30, and then we go into the graduation phase of the exam, I mean the graduation phase of the program, all right. So now, session 3. Mr. Aliyu, are you ready for us, please? Please
Yes,
confirm that you can hear me.
I'm I'm
Okay,
ready,
okay.
ma.
All right. All right. All right. So, can you please share a memorable experience that taught you an important lesson? Right, which is this question. Question number 6. Please share a memorable experience that taught you an important lesson. Thank you.
Good
Okay,
evening
so
once
I'm going to
again.
let you know. Okay, I'm going to
Okay,
let you know when your time starts. Just give me a
okay.
second. Okay, so your time starts in three, two, one, action. Your time
Good
has
evening.
started, sir.
Good evening once again. I remain Shaibu Aliu. I think one of the things that taught me a memorable lesson in my life was, having to trust wrong people. In fact, I'm the type that easily trusts people before. In the past, usually, whenever I'm relating with somebody, I take his words almost 100% without trying to doubt or think otherwise. In fact, I have a friend that I 100% rely on, that I can share my secret with, tell him so he knows almost everything about me. But one important thing is that I don't even care to know some things about him. It's only the basic I knew about him. And sometimes I realized that he was using some of the things, against me, especially when it comes to taking advantage of that. Now, what is happening currently, because of that experience, I try as much as possible now to gauge, to know the type of people I relate with, and to know what and what I should share with people. In fact, hardly I share anything with anybody except my family, except my children, except my wife. Otherwise, in fact, with that, I'm able to understand, uh, you know, that is not everybody you trust. And currently, that has helped me, that memorable bad experience I had because of trusting a wrong person. I may not say a wrong person, but giving him so much trust more than necessary. And in my relations, generally, not only now, even in the future, I try as much as possible to understand not only the person, but full background, and as well as the type of person I'm relating with. And at the same time, try as much as possible to see that I limit what and what should be shared, especially uh, things that are highly confidential. In fact, these days, you cannot even trust yourself. You have to be very careful. Even your shadow, you have to be very careful with it. In conclusion, trust is fundamental, because if you don't trust somebody, hardly you'll be able to relate. But it has some limitations. It has some limitations. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. You were able to use 3 minutes, 8 seconds, 47 nanoseconds. I have to clap for you for this particular.
Clap for me too. Uh,
Well done. Well done. Okay. So, I mean, it was quite an improvement. All right. So we'll go into the feedback proper. Okay, so Mr. Ademola, your question was to tell us an experience where you had to overcome a challenge, all right? And using the past, present, future framework, which is PPF, you told us that in the past you used to have the fear of public speaking, and then you were quite an introvert. And not just that, you were scared of public speaking because it looked like a problem in isolation, but you actually actually did lose an opportunity because of this problem, and I could really feel, the pain and the weight of that loss. So in your use of carrying us back in the memory lane, you had 10 over 10 there, right? In the present, you actually used this impromptu presentation mastery course, which, through your presentation, you did mention that you could actually, you got better in public speaking, but you still struggled with impromptu presentation, and that was why you signed up for this course. That was quite a brilliant one. So you had 10 over 10 there. Okay, now in the future, you are looking at, a situation where you don't even need any preparation at all. You are actually building and working and putting yourself in that space where you constantly use the frameworks that were taught in class and the things you've learned from this course to actually master impromptu presentation. And in that one, you got a 10 over 10 as well. So for this particular session, you had, in your presentation, you had 20 over 20 because you were able to carry us through a phase, right? You had 20 over 20. In the use of framework, you also had 30 over 30. And in time, you used 3 minutes, 15 seconds, 56 nanoseconds. All right, now I know that this particular one, the time was not less than 3 minutes and not more than 4 minutes. So you had a 10 over 10 in this particular one, which is quite impressive. Okay, so it means for this particular session, you actually had everything correct. All right, congratulations and well done to you, Mr. Ademola. Okay, so over to you, Mr. Aliyu. You told us, you were asked to tell us a time when you learned a memorable lesson, and quite frankly, that was a very relatable memory lane for me as well, because I remember that when I was in university, I did trust someone, my roommate, and then she set me up and I got kidnapped, right? So since then, I've struggled with keeping female friends up until now. It's still one of my biggest struggles, and I'm trying to overcome that because when you look at my list of friends, I have mainly male friends. In fact, all my friends are males, right? I'm still struggling to make female friends, and once trust is broken, it becomes almost impossible for it to be repaired. So you started by telling us a story about a friend that you trusted in the past, all right, and then you discovered that he was actually using what you told him against you. Okay, and not just using it against you, but it was actually, what he was using against you was, detrimental to your person. All right, and so for that, you had a 10 over 10 in being able to carry us through the past. Now in the present, you actually share that you right now you want to trust family more, right? You want rather trust your kids, your wife, and you know just your family, which is quite true, because currently, even the persons I say that are my male friends, I don't really tell them anything personal. The only people I tell personal things to are my family members, my sister, and sometimes my parents. But if I have 100 conversations about personal things, I usually just tell my sister. Okay, and then instead, in the future, you want to understand the person's background fully and understand who this person is before you become very transparent and open with them, which is also something that is very relatable to all of us, because I think that's where I'm currently at. So for that, you were also able to have a 10 over 10. So for this particular section, your presentation was quite impressive. So in presentation, you had 20 over 20, because I think when I listened to you, beyond the story, you were able to create this, how would I put it? The way you made the presentation, it carried an emotion that was attached to it. And one thing about impromptu presentation and presentation in general is how you're able to carry the audience through a story. Okay, how you're able to make them feel what you felt. And I think in your presentation, maybe because, I wouldn't say because it was relatable to something I've experienced, but I feel like if anyone is going to be honest, the way you made the presentation was quite, it was very impressive. All right, so in presentation you had a 20/20, and the use of framework, yes, you had a 30/30 because you told us something that happened in the past, you told us something that happened or what you're currently doing now, and then what you're going to be doing in the future, which is trusting someone comes by fully understanding the person. And I know you did mention that even your own shadow should not be trusted, which was quite funny. All right, and the particular one where I had a little bit of concern was the time, but fortunately you were able to scale through the time hurdle and you had a 10/10 in time. So Mr. Aliu and Mr. Ademola, you both had all the points in this particular session, and that is quite impressive. And I would want to say congratulations and well done to both of you, because I can greatly see an improvement. Okay, and that was the reason why I had to give a feedback immediately, because one thing I noticed, or one thing I'm very careful about doing, especially when it comes to impromptu presentations and the fact that this is live practice, is if I had said no feedback till the end of the exam, right, how we presented or how the feedback I gave in the first exam could have actually carried, that emotion could have been carried through into the second and the third round. Okay, but because there was feedback and we were able to, you know, get better, and then it got better, you could see that there was a progression. All right, so for us and for me as um an instructor or an educator, I always keep telling us that human beings are embodiments of emotions. Okay, so you get the best of people when you are able to understand how to put them in a certain emotional framework or in a certain emotional state that helps them perform at their best. All right, so we have come to the end of our examination, and our feedback, our score, and every other detail will be mailed to us, all right, before Wednesday. Now, I told us in our last class that our book is still pending approval. Unfortunately, it has not been approved. Okay, and that is the only thing that is delaying why we're not sending everything to us at once. Okay, because we want to attach an ebook and send the mail at once to everyone. We are currently almost starting a new cohort, so there's a lot of work going on in the background. So whenever we want to send anything, we're sending it at once. We're sending all the links to the slides, the videos, your certificate, the ebook, the worksheets, everything will get sent at once. Okay, so that we're not sending slides today, tomorrow we're sending certificate, next tomorrow we're sending another thing. It makes it almost cumbersome for us, right? So we're trying to create a situation where you receive everything at once and you have an all-in-one document concerning the impromptu presentation mastery course. All right, so once again, congratulations to both of you for successfully completing the impromptu presentation course examination. And right about now, we are in our graduation ceremony. All right, and what we're going to be doing is to celebrate your achievements. Okay, so I do know that I have a personal experience as to each person in the class. Okay, so welcome to your graduation, and this graduation is created to honor our graduates. All right, so today we gather to celebrate the successful completion of the impromptu presentation mastery training program. This program challenged learners to think quickly, speak confidently, and communicate effectively without prior preparation. We are proud of the progress each learner has made, and we are excited to recognize your achievements. Okay, so once again, this is me saying welcome to your graduation, and thank you so much for being a part of this cohort. Now, the reason why we are celebrating every person who is graduating today and every person who took this course is, the training or the impromptu presentation mastery course was a course that was designed to create a holistic experience for learners. All right, so the course was designed to build confidence while speaking. We could clearly see how that, most of us who stayed committed to the process was able to build confidence in presentation. We could also see clear thinking. Okay, now the reason why the graduation and the examination are paired together is because you have a holistic experience in terms of you're coming out from an exam that was broken down into 3 sessions, and for each session we could see a progression. All right, progression in clear thinking, progression in structure, progression in time management. Okay, and so we can say that we have been able to create progress, okay, through clear thinking and thinking under pressure. Now we're also able to see structured presentation. All right, so that was the reason why we had to use frameworks, because for each of these lessons there are things we are supposed to take out of it, right? So for every course you pay for, there is something you're supposed to take out of it. And impromptu presentation mastery, the key thing to take out of this course is the use of structures. And I know that even though in our last class we said that after you have taken the course and you still find yourself struggling, you should start with what you know. But through the exams we were able to take, you could see clearly that presentations got better with structure. All right, we're able to have an emotional connection to our learner stories and where they are coming from, and that for us is a big achievement. Okay, now we're also able to see speaking with clarity and confidence. We're also able to see organizing ideas in a short time. Now there's a reason why the thinking time was less than 1 minute, because that's usually what you might experience in real time. All right, we're also able to see managing audience engagement. We're able to see effective body language and eye contact. I know I did notice that, we're actually looking at the screen based on off of our last presentation. I could see that, oh, we now had better use of eye contact with the screen, and it was quite impressive. Now we could see managing speaking time, right? There was a reason why we had timestamps to this course. Okay, so you don't speak and forget that you're speaking, and you don't say less than is required. So we could see progression in time management. We could also see responding confidently to unexpected topics. None of us had a previous view or a preview into what the questions would look like, but you could see how that, you were able to both get 30/30 in the last round of the examination, because you could think clearly, you could speak clearly, and you could respond confidently to unexpected topics, right? And some of these topics actually took you down memory lane, right? And that was like quick thinking about a story or a moment that related to what you're currently sharing, and something that actually resonated deeply with you. All right, so we could actually say that we achieved quick thinking through this course. We're able to see learners achieve quick thinking, and that for us is something that we deeply celebrate, and we appreciate every one of you for being proactive and responding to the course. Now through by the end of this course, we can say that learners have been able to develop public speaking confidence, quick thinking, communication skills, presentation structure, active listening, voice control. Because even when at times I noticed that, oh, you're trying to get your thoughts, you're still trying to put yourself together, but you stayed calm, you didn't over pitch, right? Or you didn't under pitch. The voice was steady. There was this steady voice control throughout your presentations. I'm speaking to both Mr. Aliu and Mr. Ademola, and that's quite impressive, right? Audience connection, yes, I actually felt a few emotions in our both presentations. Professional presence, all right, time awareness, right? These are invaluable skills for leadership, work, and everyday communication. Now it's important to say that beyond taking an exam, all right, or beyond paying for a course, these skills are skills that can be adopted in everyday learning, in everyday living, okay, both at work, with your family, with your friends. I mean, there has to be this consciousness of impromptu presentation, especially using the frameworks that makes it easier for professionals to internalize most of what we have shared so far. And so with no further ado, let's go to the next slide. So I sincerely do want to appreciate every one of us, right? We recognize and we appreciate you for taking this time to be part of this process, for trusting the Law Academy, right? We proudly recognize the successful completion of the Impromptu Presentation Mastery, and we congratulate you once again, and we celebrate your courage, your growth, and your achievement so far. So from the deepest part of my heart, and on behalf of every team member of the Law Academy, we say congratulations to everyone who has successfully completed the Impromptu Presentation Mastery course. And from all of us at the Law Academy, we say thank you for trusting us with this professional development. Thank you for trusting us with this phase of your professional career growth. All right, now you'll be asking yourself, oh, what's next after, this course, after we've finished, what is next? So the next phase of this process is the 1 month that we promised everyone. All right, so we're going to be successfully transitioning us into another group. Okay, so another group will be created, but it would only be created after we have sent your certificate of completion as well as other packages that are supposed to be attached to your graduation process. All right, so once we have completed that phase, now the next phase is to move us to the new group, which is the group for the persons who have successfully completed the course. And now in this group, you have 1 month access to me, all right, to the academy, right? On Saturdays, every Saturday, we have drills, communication drills. So this one is going to be happening once a week, all right, and it's going to be for an hour 30 minutes, where we get on a live call like what we are doing, and then we start reviewing some of the things that you might have experienced during the week. Okay, so in this time around, we're no longer teaching, we are expecting you to use your daily experiences as questions. All right, so whatever you experience within a full week, you note it down, and then you bring it to the live call on Saturday. All right, so there's also going to be a time for that. If we're not actively running a cohort, we're going to actually maintain 7 p.m. But if we're running a cohort, we might actually move it up to maybe 5 to 6:30, and then 7 we can start with the cohort, or it can be earlier than 5 p.m. just to make sure that we fulfill this promise to us that there is a 1 month access to the academy. All right, now whatever you experience throughout the week, you bring it to class. Okay, now this is us using real life as our learning curve. Okay, this is where you're going to be looking out for the things you learned in class, and then the experiences that you have felt during the week, or the communication challenges you might have experienced. Let's say you went for a presentation, or you went for something and you felt like you didn't give it your best, of which we do not expect that from any of our graduates, because we do believe that with what we have learned and the practice we've done, we can actually consistently grow in our pursuit of excellence when it comes to communication. But that notwithstanding, there are still times when we might also experience 1 or 2 lapses, and would want to share that experience, or you want to find out what could I have done better in this phase, or what do you think I could have done better this time around. All right, so in that call, or in those call sessions, this is when we will get to address this. So for 1 month, you can keep using your real life experiences as your test of knowledge. Okay, your test of knowledge. So whatever you experience in real life, just bring it to the call and would answer it. All right, so we're also working towards creating and launching another course. All right, now this course is pitch deck presentation for business owners. All right, now this one is basically for business owners. It's teaching you how to make your pitch decks. All right, most persons do not know how to pitch their businesses, so this is the course we are currently working on: pitch deck presentation for founders or business owners. All right, so if you would actually subscribe to getting marketing materials, or you want to subscribe for the course, please just let us know in the community, and we'll be more than happy to have you all again, to see your beautiful and handsome faces in our next cohort. All right, so without wasting much of our time, we've successfully come to the end of the Impromptu Presentation Mastery course. And from all of us at the Law Academy, we say congratulations to you all for your tenacity. All right. We sincerely celebrate your progress, and we say that the sky is our starting point. So at this junction, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have any feedback, today we're really looking forward to your feedback. You've actually had 7 days of live interaction with us, which is the first day onboarding and then 6 days of learning. All right, so from your experience, please, we would genuinely need your feedback on the WhatsApp group. Okay, please, you can send your feedback on the WhatsApp group, your experience with the course, the progress you've made, and any other thing you feel that we could actually use. And this is us actually also letting you know, with your consent, that we might be using this feedback for our marketing purposes, right? We're going to be using it to market our cohort too. So just in case you see, maybe, because we're not going to be editing names, right? Because we really want people to know that these are testimonials and feedback from real people who have actually, taken this program and have participated in this program. All right, so with your consent, please, we are begging you to do us the honor of giving us a feedback on the WhatsApp group of your experience throughout the learning program and your recommendation, as well as anything you feel we can work on. All right, so we do believe that we're going to be receiving that feedback today, and by the grace of God, between now and Wednesday, you would receive all the documents, your certificate, your email, and every other thing that is required for you to continue your progressive, upward progress towards becoming an excellent communicator. So from the depth of my heart, I remain Marigold Okoye, who is the founder and lead trainer of the Law Academy. And I say thank you so very much to everyone who signed up for this course. And we will see you on the other side of success. Bye for now. You could always reach out to us on LinkedIn or Instagram, or even on WhatsApp. You could always text me directly, or you could always reach out to me on LinkedIn. I am Marigold Okoye. That's my name on LinkedIn. Instagram, still Marigold Okoye. I don't do all those shizzy for wheezy thing. I use my name throughout. All right. So if you want to search for me on any social media platform, just search through Marigold Okoye. All right. Thank you so very much, everyone. And we would see you on the other side of success. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay.